pleasure to be with you today, Amar Chadha-Patel. You're an actor, you're a director, you're the lead playing Borman in Ron Howard's Disney Plus Willow.
Yes.
You are leading in Amazon Prime movie 15 Love.
I'm not leading in that.
Oh, you're not leading it? Okay, thank you for that.
I'm heavily involved.
Okay, good, that's good to know. You've done lots of television. You sort of you've built your way up. You're also in a sci-fi film, True Love, which sounds extraordinary.
Yeah.
You were in Sex Education, The Windsors, and you're one of the leads in Dashcam, which is directed by Rob Savage.
Yeah, you should come everywhere with me.
But
It's good to have
I'd
that.
love to actually.
It's better than IMDb.
No, but you seem to be someone who's incredibly busy, and we've worked together this morning, and you've got an incredible spirit. You're creative, you're open to collaboration, and it's just a joy to meet you.
Oh, thank you. It's a joy to meet you too.
Lovely to see you. Now,
Collaboration is key in any industry, right?
it is. No, it is really. It really. We all rise together, and I think that's vital. And here at Mr. Feelgood, what we've done is we've designed these 20 questions that get to the heart of who you are. So I'm going to jump right in and say,
Go.
who the fuck are you?
You just read it all out. So who am I? I don't know. I think I'm a born collaborator. If we're going to go existential with it, I've always been some form of creative, whether it was making models or collages or puppet shows or short films. And I think everything I've learned over the years of doing what I do is that I just enjoy collaborating with people. So I may be a facilitator of ideas, and I don't know. My best work I think is done with other people.
Right on.
Born collaborator.
Right on. And you're an actor and you're a director, obviously.
Acting's the nicest way to collaborate with someone. You bring someone's characters to life in a way that they sort of sometimes see and sometimes don't see. That's the beauty of it.
Right on. How are you feeling right now?
Right now, I am feeling, good. We've had a really productive morning. It's been nice. I'm feeling valued because it's lovely to be here and validated. I've got an engagement with some friends this afternoon, which is going to be nourishing for the soul. So, could be worse.
Where did you grow up and what was it like?
I grew up in a mixture between sort of North and East London, but with grandparents in West London. So there's like a big Punjabi Sikh community in West London. So I would sort of have this tie back to these like Punjabi roots when I was there with my grandparents, but then I also grew up in sort of North, Highbury and Hackney, East London. So that was a sort of much more multicultural upbringing. And my grandma was always based in Hackney as well, my paternal side. So it's like a very cross-London multicultural upbringing.
Amazing, right?
Yeah, very lucky.
Super
the best
cool.
of all the worlds.
Super cool, super cool.
Every cuisine.
Amazing. Do you cook?
I do cook, yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Thank you.
What excites you?
That's a big question.
I know it is, but hey, what excites you? What really switches you on aside from collaborating? What makes you feel just in the moment, happy?
In what? Oh, music. I mean, music is. I need a constant soundtrack, and I find that I often emote to myself through music.
Do you use music and when you sort
I
of?
used to be in a band, yeah, and I do make music and play music. I was in a band called Strong Asian Mothers.
Oh wow!
Yeah, me and the lead singer and one of the collaborators. His mum and my mum were friends, and that's how we met when we were 3 and 4. And both of them are Asian women that sort of in the 80s that were outliers of their kind.
Right on.
So we set up this band called Strong Asian Mothers, which was just a big party band.
Right.
Really, it was just like very rambunctious, enjoyable music. And that's like a way of expressing myself. That's kind of where I honed some of my performance abilities before I became an actor.
All right.
It was just being on stage in front of thousands of people at festivals.
Amazing.
And having to entertain them.
Amazing.
With music they'd never heard before.
Okay.
It'd be interesting.
And do you use music when you're preparing for a character? Is that something, a tool that
absolutely.
you sort of engage?
Yeah, well, I'm writing a film right now with a friend, and one of the first things we've been talking about is a playlist of inspirational music, and then there's another dystopian project I'm working on right now that I'm sort of writing myself, and I've just been going through dystopian songs. I just think music is a great way to find emotion if you are trying to...
So is. What scares you?
Spiders.
Really?
Yeah.
You're one of those. What's the word for that? There is a word.
Arachnophobia.
That's the one, arachnophobia. What else?
I don't know. I've been thinking about this a lot recently. This might sound really tragic, but being alone.
Honest.
But I think I think as a personality, I'm like quite an extroverted person, meaning that I sort of take my strength in being around other people.
Right.
And I feel like I have the best to offer when I'm with other
too.
human beings.
I do too.
So often when I have a lot of alone time, I have to do a lot of work in myself to like justify why it is alone time and accept that other people are not going to be around or that I'm going to use it for work. But it can be a little bit scary when you're like, that's your, you're on uncomfort zone, I guess.
No, I get it, but you do seem, I spent the morning with you, and you do seem someone who's obviously thrives on the collaboration and the company of others, and I relate to that a lot, but also there's a stillness about you and a grace about you that I would think you might have to, I was going to say, that's the way it works, you've got to do what
it's very practiced.
Yeah. So what is your proudest achievement thus far?
Whoa, proudest achievement thus far. Oh man, these are big questions.
I know, I told you.
Proudest achievement thus far.
I'm glad you didn't look at the questions as well, because it's
nice to be surprised. I think. I mean, I've been privileged to have some amazing achievements. I guess like, I'm not going to say being an actor, but I think becoming a fully functional like adult at a point in my life where everyone is supposed to have everything together. It's kind of scary, and when I look back on it, I sort of left university and have been a freelancer ever since I left, and have dived through multiple different careers and elements of the creative industry. But was thinking about it, looking back, and was like, I never missed rent. I never found myself in a crisis. I always found work, and I had, and I was talking to a friend about it, and sometimes it's hard to keep going, but in our friendship group we've all been quite successful, and I think the proudest achievement was just believing in myself as an investment, rather than like squirreling away a bit of money every month and living a sort of frugal life. I would spend money on like a wig for a video, or a silly costume, or a camera, or going out for a drink with someone who might help me collaborate in the future. Like all these weird things that I used to think I was wasting my money on were actually investments in myself as a creative person. And now that some of those things are coming to fruition, I'm really proud that I believed in myself.
Absolutely, man. It's beautiful. That's the way it should be. It's gorgeous.
And I once built a bay window for my house.
All right, I'm leaving. That's way too...
And that was one of my proudest achievements.
Wow.
It's on Instagram somewhere.
Has it?
I moved into my new house and I built a bay window with a bookshelf in the front of it. And
you built it as in you made the frame for the window?
A bay window sofa, sorry.
Oh, okay.
As in
that's impressive. Okay, that's impressive.
I was pretty proud of that. And it was like the most popular video I'd ever put on Instagram, which is kind of sad because I'm supposed to be an entertainer. But it was
But you're a joiner.
But I'm a carpenter.
Good. Like, Harrison Ford used to do that, didn't he?
He was
a carpenter.
He was 34 when he started acting. He was a carpenter. There's a lot of parallels.
And Kevin Costner as well. He's a brilliant joiner.
Is he really?
Yeah, no, he is.
Which is
No, it's great. It's amazing. A friend of mine bought his house, and the cinema room where we go and watch movies, he did. It's extraordinary with a cabinet for his Oscars.
There you go.
So it's a good thing to have.
Build my own cinema.
I mean, that's the thing about being an actor as well. You take on all these different, you get immersed in these different professions, and I think that's kind of wonderful. If you want to do it properly, then you get involved and you learn these other skills which can always help you.
Well, I have a degree in production design. That's what I studied as a qualification. So I was always carpentry and prop building. So
So what's the hardest thing you've ever had to do?
The hardest thing I've ever had to do was
face off with a spider.
Probably face off with a spider. who was an actor as a spider. The hardest thing I've ever had to do. Let's have a think about this. One of the hardest things I've had to do was apply for a mortgage. That's a nightmare. No one should have to do that. It's like a trial.
Especially now.
Yeah, especially now. It's like a trial by fire, really.
Man.
But my partner at the time who I was buying a place with just gave 3 pay slips from 3 months worth of work, and I was can we have 29 tax returns? Can we have your birth certificate in triplicate? Can we have proof that you can walk? Can we, the jump. So I've been paying rent for 10 years. That was pretty hard. Okay. Probably not the hardest thing I've had to do.
Well, okay, all right, okay. Who was your greatest mentor, and what did they teach you?
Oh, my greatest mentor.
Have you had one?
I don't know if I've really had one. I wouldn't say I've had a mentor, but I have had a collection of very influential people in my life that have all taught me a myriad of lessons. Both my I mean, I sadly didn't meet my grandfather on my paternal side, but both my grandmothers were sort of widowed relatively young in my life and were pretty strong matriarchal figures. Same with my mother and you know, my auntie, both, and I have a stepmother as well who I love deeply, and like there's a lot of strong female figures that were matriarchal in my life that were quite influential, and a lot of that sort of like diaspora Indian mentality is about perseverance for the sake of like, you know, success rather than because it's duty. Those kind of mentory ideas that come from my family I think are quite important. And then some of my mentors are really just friends of mine. Like a really good friend of mine is a guy called Mikey Please, who is now an animator, part of a duo called Parabella, and they just made a film called Robin for Netflix, which was nominated for an Oscar last year. And he's only a couple of years older than me. We were at university together, but his driving force to be creative. And I've worked with him over the years in a myriad of different ways. And like whether he mentored me or not, he's always been a figure of like inspiration. There are lots of friends in my group, I think.
It seems that that's an ongoing theme, because you started at the beginning saying your friend group is incredible support to, I guess you are to each other.
I think so. I think, you know, there's some of us are photographers, some of us are directors, some of us are actors, some of us are theatre producers. But like, we've all been artists for a long time. We've all been part of, you know, all met at Wimbledon or Campbell or College of Art or Kingston. But like, we've all just believed in ourselves in these really crazy worlds. And now we're in our sort of like early to mid 30s. We're like, we actually did it, guys.
It's amazing.
How did this happen? You know, no one's like, I'm an accountant, which is nothing wrong with it. But like, we all stuck with what we wanted to do.
What you wanted to do, what you felt.
We mentored each other, I guess.
Exactly. That's what it feels like.
And I often think about university. Like, I went to university, got a degree, qualified, you know, were first in production design, then left, and no one ever asked me what I got for a degree ever in a job. And I was like, well, what did I learn at university? And I learned some technicality, but really the friendships I made.
That's it.
That was a melting pot.
That was the glue. That was the thing. Yeah, that's beautiful. Who are your fictional and real life heroes?
Ooh, fictional and real life heroes. This one I can do. Fictional hero. I mean, he's not really a hero, but I'm obsessed with him. Nemo. Captain Nemo.
Yeah, okay.
20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Yeah.
What like a bizarre and strange presence who adds so much like tension to this story.
Right. Okay.
I always wanted to play him in something.
You.
I would love to be a Nemo. Not Finding Nemo. Totally different.
Yeah.
I also have a deep love for the character Hellboy.
Oh God, yeah.
In the comics, and this is an odd one. Like both the films, all the films, the Guillermo del Toro one and the David Alba, they have been good. But the funny thing about Hellboy for me is that if you look at this weird world, he is like a demon who's come to Earth and is a sort of paranormal detective, and he looks like the weird one. But if you read the comics really deeply, you'll see that like everything else in the world is weird, and he's the only sane one.
Right.
And everyone else is talking about a mythological creature, and he's the one who's like, damn it, I knew it! He's the one who speaks like a human being.
Right.
I kind of love that element of like being centered for being loud, but also being the normal person.
Right. What about real life heroes?
Real life heroes. God, these questions really... The main issue is I'm worried about saying something and regretting it. You know, like, I don't want to accidentally say Trump. I'm not going to say Trump. Real life heroes.
Well, you don't have to say it if it comes to you later on.
I don't know. I mean, I think any artist who's like persevered through their career, like someone like Joni Mitchell, is an incredible musician and voice of emotion. I'm a huge fan of Joni Mitchell. Jeff Buckley as well.
Yeah.
I love musicians. In terms of like actors, I'm a big fan of people like Sam Rockwell, Oscar Isaacs, Tilda Swinton. Those guys are like they've had these careers that are like spanning years and generations, and they play these interesting roles, and they managed to be able to do these crazy, interesting things. Irfan Khan as well, one of my favourite Indian actors. He was probably most famously, he was in Life of Pi, but he was also in Darjeeling Limited. He played the dad of this little kid that dies in the river. And the performance where he has barely any words, he's an absolute hero when it comes to emoting.
And that's something when you see that and you feel
he
that,
makes you cry just by watching about it. It's so moving. That kind of performance is...
Okay. What is your favourite item of clothing in your wardrobe?
My favourite item of clothing in my wardrobe is this like zebra print-esque long jacket that is sort of actually dark olive green but with blue stripes. It kind of looks zebra greeny, and everyone is always like, where did you get it from? And it's from Topshop.
Ah, right on.
Yeah, so RIP.
You really are an extrovert, aren't you? You've got some balls. You've got some boldness to be able to go and wear that. Wow,
Well,
brilliant.
it's interesting.
I love it.
I think ever since I was like 16, 17, I discovered my identity within myself. I've always been someone who dressed loudly and grew my hair out and had nails coloured. And it was not because I was trying to fit into some sort of subculture. I just felt it very important that I broadcast to people before they even met me,
Right.
that there might be more to me than what they assumed about me based on a stereotype.
Yeah.
So my loudness of dress and extroversion comes from this fear of being stereotyped
Right
just
on.
because of the colour of my skin.
Right on. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. What music did you love age 13 and do you still love it now?
Oh man, age 13, I'm gonna go for like new metal. It was like Slipknot.
Oh.
Was that an is that?
No, it's just you blew my mind. I wasn't expecting that.
Really?
Yeah, no, I love
Slipknot,
it. Okay.
Deftones,
Right.
System of a Down. I mean, I grew up on a diet of the Beatles and Led Zeppelin and then lots of Motown from my mum. My dad was the Beatles. Fleetwood Mac as well, like early Peter Green Fleetwood Mac. But when I was 13, like the first thing I got into was heavy rock and
Right
metal. And now that's the only music I can listen to at the gym.
Oh, yeah. That's a good place to listen to
I've tried
it,
to
yeah.
listen to like Pumpy House.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I just
yeah.
want to hear angry people.
Oh.
Angry people.
And you still listen to it, obviously, at the
I
gym?
love it.
Okay.
Yeah, I was listening to it yesterday on the bike.
Oh.
Yeah.
What is the most inspiring book you've ever read?
Most inspiring book I've ever read. I've read a few. One that is really inspiring to me, not because of the message, but because of its scale and what it tries to achieve, is my friend Mikey, who I also referenced. He recommended it to me. Is The Buried Giant by Ishiguro.
Okay. I don't know.
He wrote Atonement. And,
Okay, yeah, of course,
yeah, The Buried Giant is this bizarre fiction book set in sort of Arthurian England about this middle-aged couple trying to get to their son. But the metaphor for the Dark Ages is that everyone has this illness where they can't remember anything long term. So everyone has a short-term memory. It's just creepy and eerie and strange.
When did you read that?
I read that about 6 years ago, I think.
Because your careers, you seem to be going into a lot of that sort of territory in a way, isn't it?
Well, I mean, I don't want to go deep into this, but I've always been a fan of Celtic, Gaelic, English mythology. I find it surprising when people are like, Eastern ideology is so interesting. And I think that England has lost a little bit of its connection to its Celtic pagan roots. And so Arthurian myths and legends and things like that, they're really interesting to me.
Fascinating. Yeah. What is a movie that left a lasting impression on you?
Jurassic Park.
Oh, yeah.
And that's probably, I know it feels quite obvious to say, but it's definitely one of my favourite films of all time.
Okay.
It's got everything. It's mystery, it's got horror in it, it's an action film, it's got strong female characters, it's got strong male characters. It doesn't have to have a love story. It's about a guy trying to be a dad, really, or learning what being a dad is, and it's funny.
What is your favourite word or saying?
Ooh,
Oh, is it? That's a good one.
thank you. Because it sums up everything. No, it's funny. Well, this is going to sound so pretentious, but one of my favourite words is petrichor.
Oh,
It's just a nice word to say.
petrichor.
Yeah, it means what? It's the smell that comes off the earth when it's just rained.
Oh, I love
But then I
it.
heard another one the other day.
Petrichor.
Petrichor, yeah. But then I heard
Beautiful,
another
I
one the
didn't know
other
that.
day, which is chrysalism.
Oh, that's nice.
And that is a word that describes the tranquility of being indoors when it's raining outside.
Tell me again, what's it called?
Chrysalism.
Chrysalism.
Yeah.
Chrysalism.
Almost like a chrysalid, I guess.
Like a chrysalis, coming out, the butterfly.
Like
Beautiful.
what? Yeah, there aren't enough words in the English
That's
language
beautiful.
that sum up emotions. We have loads of words for things. So I love words that like sum up a whole sentiment. Chrysalism. The name of my first child. They will be bullied.
It will be. Okay, what do you want to say? What do you want people to say about you at your funeral?
He wasn't boring.
Yeah, that's for sure.
He died well. He should have known that bomb would have gone off.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
guess. Yeah,
That'll
he
do.
should. Yeah.
All right. Final quick five. Favorite car. What is your favorite car?
A vintage orange Volkswagen Beetle.
Right on.
My dad had one.
Where I'm staying My host has his grandma's one from 1963 and it still goes. It's gone through 3 generations.
You're talking like the
and
really
it's
big-
mint. Yeah.
oh.
It's mint. It's mint.
Wow.
We went out in it in March.
Nice.
Sports team.
It was Arsenal, but I'm not really a football fan anymore.
Okay. Doesn't have to be footy.
Okay, Alcaraz, the tennis player. He's like
Okay.
19.
Yeah.
I think of him as a team because
He's
of all of his
brilliant.
limbs, and he's amazing.
Meal.
A slow cooked sausage pasta from the River Cafe cookbook. 2 hours, 8 sausages, half a bottle of wine, patience, cream, parmesan. Probably a heart attack.
But it's worth it.
But it's worth it.
Right way to go. Grooming product.
Davines oil, non-oil is what I put in my hair to tame the fiery frizz that is a result of being Indian.
Clothing label.
Clothing label. There's many. I tell you what, I am a big fan of Vivienne Westwood. I
That
love
makes sense.
odd cuts.
Yeah.
And yeah, Vivienne
And
Westwood.
she was brilliant, and she is
She
brilliant.
does that,
She
yeah.
still is. She's kicking.
My gift to myself after I wrapped Willow was a Vivienne Westwood coat. It's probably the most money I've spent on anything.
How
I
much
just-
was it?
I don't want to say that.
Okay.
I won't say that.
Okay.
I'll upset people.
Okay. I get it. And just finally, is there anything that you'd like to talk about, or a question that you haven't been asked before that you'd like to put a bit of attention to? But no worries either way.
How are you?
You know what? I'm pretty great, and that's kind of you to say so. It's been a
Yeah.
mad, bonkers couple of weeks,
Yeah.
but I've been working and I've been travelling and I've
That's
seen
good.
my family, so I'm
Great.
awesome. But what about you?
Well, this has all been about me, so I thought I'd turn the
No, I'm
lens
good,
back
man.
on
I'm
you.
good. I'm good.
I think it's really nice to have a publication that is interested in mental health.
Yeah.
Positive mental health,
Well,
especially for men, because we don't talk.
Well,
We don't talk about it enough, guys. We can be sad, and we often are,
yeah.
and everyone else is sad. And if you think your mates aren't sad, they are.
Yeah.
Talk about sadness. I'm not sad right now, but I will be at some point.
Because that's the nature of being a human. That's part of the journey.
Up, down. Yeah,
Okay.
man, for sure.
Well, thank you for being with us.
Thank
you for
you.
being for Mr. Feelgood. Bless you in all you
It's
do.
been a joy.
It has been a joy,
Yeah.
and I wish you joy in everything you move into.
Thank you.
All right, lots of love.
Take care.
Peace.